Yeah, 2-minute closing statements from each side.
Okay. The negative has repeatedly asked for evidence for God's existence. I have shown that in my opening statement that the universe must be temporally finite and have a beginning. Given these two factors, all explanations relying on naturalistic forces to create the natural are not logically tenable. There are many explanations that we haven't tested yet, maybe we'll be able to test sometime in the future, but they all boil down to requiring an infinitely regressive chain of events, or creation out of nothing. Both of these options are simply not rationally tenable.
Overall, I think that this boils down to anomalies. Out of all the possible universes, I think our universe would have to be considered an anomaly. The improbabilities of these certain things happening, an infinite number of chaotic universes, a smaller number of ones that exist before making ours. Within this universe is life itself. As we mentioned, the conditions for life to hold are another one of those things where an incredibly small likelihood of universal forces being such as they are that allow us to exist. But it does. And what sort of life do we have? We have a world populated by species that seem to exist to obtain food, struggle for survival, and reproduce. And then what do we have? We have this one species, human beings, which seem to be radically different from all the things that surround them. We didn't talk about this very much, but Christianity works an explanation for all these things, especially for the anomaly of man within the world, within the universe. What we have is a highly rational universe populated by one species of rational beings with quick to understand it. And we say that this is a product of a universe caused by highly rational design, creator God.
And as one final statement, the only explanation that the negative has advanced for the uniqueness of the universe is to postulate a infinity of multiple universes where everything has literally happened somewhere. Well, what if we destroyed half these universes? Well, half the possibilities of what could have happened are now gone, yet there's still an infinite number of universes. Once again, this multiple universe theory is not logically tenable because it's postulating the existence of an actual infinity in the realm of the natural world.
Really quickly, it's, again, what created the universe. Everything that exists has to have a beginning or creator. You ask me what created the universe, I say I don't know, and I leave it at that. They say they don't know, but God did. Again, I ask you, we're not the same step. What created God, I would ask. You would say, well, God always existed. God doesn't need the creation. Well, then, again, I would apply that to the universe. The universe always existed. The universe doesn't need to be created. Again, same step. You stated that human beings are different than every other form of life, that we are the only rational species, yet so few of us are actually rational, which is kind of ironic. I mean, out of human beings, we are riddled with absolutely faulty design. We share the same building blocks, we share the same molecular, anatomical baggage as every other animal on this planet. Absolutely every single one. And if you're denying that, then you're basically denying evolutionary biology, which is something that we don't have time to discuss now, but I will be more than happy to discuss with you later. We are not different from everything else. We simply aren't. The only, look at us, I mean, our frontal lobes are too small, our adrenal glands are too large, and our thumb, index finger is all, opposition isn't all what it could be. It's the sort of thing where we are riddled with faulty designs. In fact, the only area in which human beings are actually supreme is our nervous system. You know, lions eat us, we don't have sharp fangs, we're not poisonous, we can't fly, we can't breathe underwater. I mean, if I am the pinnacle of God's creation, I want to be strong, and I want laser beams. I mean, I want, you know, more than this. Is all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Essentially, what I'm seeing you doing is you're just taking what we're calling infinity and calling it God. So when you say like you can't take away half of infinity because you're still left with infinity, then you can't take away. This sounds very ridiculous to me, but that's the point. You can't take away half of God's characteristics in the same way, because I mean, in the end, like we've been saying, just since you're essentially saying God started everything and He's infinite, but we're just saying the universe is infinite. Why not just leave God as the universe?
Apply Occam's razor, the thing that you invoked earlier.
Yeah, because God essentially is more complex because you're positing an intelligence and motive behind the infinity.
On the flip side, why not just call infinity God?
Because, like I just said,
Infinity isn't
there's
all
intelligence.
powerful, all knowing in all ways.
And smart.
Okay, thanks. You have the room till 8:15, right? Oh, okay.
Your laser this wouldn't be.
I doubt anyone
I
has
am the only one.
Could be a winner.
I am the only one in the room. So, with that, I would like to. Sorry.
I don't want you to have
So with that, I'd like to open the floor to audience questions. Just beforehand, I would like to say, please try to make your questions succinct. It's okay to have complex, nuanced questions, but don't make like a 5-minute argument that you ask a question at the end. Like, please don't. Just don't want to deal with that. So, just like raise your hand. I think in the back. Sorry, I didn't know your name, but I think your hand is up first.
Sorry. Can I ask a quick clarifying question and then the main question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I correct that earlier you folks said that anything that happened at the point of the singularity or before is impossible to know? Is that correct? We can't know or understand what happened at the singularity beforehand, is that correct?
can't go back into the future.
That we can't know what happened, or we can't. Is that correct? Is that what you were saying? No.
That you appear to drive a great deal of information about the Big Bang, but as far as what happened before it, yes, I would say that we can't know.
Okay. So I guess my question then is, if we can't know what happened, I find it interesting that all of your evidence for the existence of God has all been things that happened before that event. So if all of your evidence is something that happened at a time or before and you have anything that's knowable, can you then please give me evidence for the existence of God at a point after that point in time, at a point that is knowable and understandable and or observable?
Look at the thing that singularity as an unknowable, this is this talk, right? You're saying unknowable physical science. So if we're going to postulate theories or hypotheses about what happened, by talking about God, we're going outside of the things of the physical sciences can observe or quantify example. And so I'm interpreting the fact of what happened in the smallest increments of time after the Big Bang in terms of the cause of singularity. As for saying that God created the Big Bang beforehand, it's not really coherent either. We don't think of God as being inside of time, something that He created time. There is a way in which God intervenes in time, but before that, there was no before the Big Bang which God decided to make it happen. It's not.
So I sort of, the argument, I guess it's the evidence of God in the physical world. And sort of, we had both sides, I guess, give little evidence. But I think neither side either argued that there was like a definitive proof in the physical world, if I understand both sides. And I sort of, it seemed to me the argument was won immediately when you guys stated that.
Is that a question?
No, this is a question. It seemed to me that the argument was won immediately when you stated that the burden of proof was on them. And so I guess my question to you guys is, do you agree with that statement? If the burden of proof is on you, I mean, it's pretty clear that, since neither of you really claim to be able to prove in the physical world there is some sort of definitive, answer for God or not, it was won with that statement. Would you agree with that statement that the burden of proof is on you guys?
Well, obviously, because we're arguing the affirmative side, that's how the debate works. guessing correctly at what your question was about, you were asking if we proved our case and whether we can. I would say that we definitely provided strong evidence for